So let's talk about the movie everybody's probably talking about, and that's Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't need to do an introduction for this because I'm sure everybody knows about this one. And everybody probably also knows about what happened with the Justice League film that we actually got in cinema a few years ago, where Zack Snyder had to step away from his movie. The studios brought in Joss Whedon, and for worse, there's no better here. For worse, what we got was a mediocre, terribly looking film that was missing just so much from it. And I guess, as they say, be careful what you ask for, because as Snyder fans, they really worked really hard. Some of the cast as well, and Zack Snyder himself, they all pushed towards getting this done. And what we got was a 4-hour long Justice League movie. So was those 4 hours worth it? First of all, I'll start by saying, of course it's gonna be better. I think with this much content in it compared to what we got, it would be really hard to make something worse than that Justice League movie, the first cut, if you want to call it that. Here, what we have is a lot more characterization, a lot more development, a lot more action sequences, and a lot more story. And I'll tell you what worked for me. I definitely love the fact that we got a lot more character development here. And it's not just one character, but I feel like we got so much from people we didn't even probably expect to get from. One of my absolute favorite moments here was the first battle between the Amazons and Steppenwolf. Hippolyta, the queen of the Amazons, even though there's not much in terms of dialogue and stuff like that, the scene is so well done, and the battle is such, it's not drawn out, but we get it on such a larger scale from what we got before. It's better edited, so we get a real feeling of tension, of stakes, of loss, of everything that she's going through and everything the Amazons are going through. And just that alone, I was like, if this is what I'm in for, I'm loving this. We also get, of course, character development from Cyborg, and this is something that Cyborg was treated in a very kind of blasé way in the first movie. We barely got any backstory on him except the bare bones, and what we got here instead was a lot more motivation, depth. The actor got to show exactly what he was capable of, which was a lot, and we also saw how important he was to this team, and that's another thing too. I did feel like, unlike that Joss Whedon version, where it felt when Superman came in, it felt like what was the purpose of the rest of these people? Because we got to spend time with them and actually see this team build and everybody's own personal stake in what was happening, and everybody's abilities, to the fullest, that you felt like, yeah, everybody here is needed, not just Superman, and that's what the Justice League team is about. Visually, I loved most of what I saw. Another absolute favorite of mine, the initial battle when Darkseid came to Earth. And guys, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be a little bit spoilerish here with this video. It's not something I usually do. I don't usually get into spoilers, but I am gonna touch on certain things that I liked. So hopefully, if you haven't seen this as yet, you might wanna go see the movie and then watch this review. But I'm gonna keep it very light, I promise. So yeah, like I said, initially we saw that in that first version, where we saw the gods and the Atlanteans and the Amazons all fighting back. Here it's so much better. It's so well done, and all the battle sequences here, you get so much more, and you actually feel the stakes. You feel invested in what's happening. You feel that joy when they beat him back. You feel the loss in certain scenes. You feel these things, and I really dug that. So the visuals for me worked, I would say 90% of the time. There was some stuff there, the underwater stuff. I still don't like how that looks, and maybe it's because I have the James Wan version of Aquaman to compare it to, which I absolutely adore. I'm still not digging some of that, and I'm still not a huge fan of the more washed out look of this Snyder's Justice League. He does that, he mutes his colors, a lot, and I want that vibrant comic book color, I want that. So I'm still not a huge fan of that. Visually, the only other big visual scope thing that I thought was a bit, was when Flash meets Iris. I will leave it at that, right? Flash meets Iris. There's some stuff there that I was like, oh, this is a bit cheesy, and I guess too some of the songs as well. Not all of them, but there's some of the song choices here that I wasn't digging. But the themes kicked in really well, of course. I mean, Wonder Woman has one of the most epic themes now. And I thought, the battle sequence and is it Stryker Island? I loved everything there, and you definitely get a much better feel of a team working together and not just these individual moments going on. So there's a lot of positive here, and I think this is something that would only work if you stream it, honestly, because at 4 hours long, I mean, I took one break, I did stop to get something to eat, but I kept picturing what would have this been like in cinemas, back to the visuals. As I say, cinema, I was thinking of watching this in IMAX, and I did like the aspect ratio. At first it was jarring. I mean, I first sat there and I saw what was happening. I was like, wait a minute, why is this shot like this? But then I realized it must have been shot for IMAX screens, and that is how I would have seen this movie if the world was normal again. So that worked for me. I got into it. I like that taller ratio. I like being able to see, the stature of things, so to speak. So it didn't, as it went along, honestly, it didn't bother me. I did not miss the widescreen as much as I thought I would have, when I initially sat there. What other cons would I have? I don't know what I'm trying to see, because overall, guys, I did enjoy this, but I have a bit of a contentious relationship. I like Zack Snyder's films. I enjoy them a lot, but Man of Steel, I like the movie. There are things about that movie that I like, but I think what happened with me is that I didn't like his characterization of Superman in those films, in films prior to this one. It just, the more I thought about it, the angrier it made me. I'm a huge fan of Supes, and I just could not get behind the way Snyder was portraying this character, and every time I get into it with my friends and stuff, I just go on a rant about it. Doesn't mean I hated the movie. There's a lot to like about Man of Steel, there really is, but I mean, Superman is the core of that, and because he didn't work for me there, and he didn't work for me in Batman v Superman, I kind of and of course Justice League was such a kind of movie that when this was happening and when this was coming out, I wasn't one of the people that was super psyched for it. I really wasn't. And I didn't even know if I was going to do this review, guys, because I went into this movie with low expectations. I'll be very honest with you on that one. I came out very surprised, happily surprised. And I'm happy for the fans that they got such a solid film out of all of their hard work in getting it done, and all of their support in getting it done. But I am not going to be a hypocrite and sit here and pretend I was one of them, But now that I've seen it, I can appreciate what went into it. I do think it works best on a streaming site. I honestly could not see myself sitting for 4 hours in a cinema watching this. And I do feel that there are some moments that weren't necessary. For instance, the epilogue. I mean, it's cool to see. I did actually, surprisingly, enjoy the conversation between Batman and Joker. It got real, and I liked that a lot, but it didn't feel that necessary. Also, the Martian Manhunter. I mean, it does feel like a post-credit sequence, and maybe if I don't know what the WB has planned for the future of these characters. So, you know, maybe he will show up further down, but if he doesn't, then this feels kind of odd. I think, I'm not sure, but I think this is not supposed to be canon, which is a shame. There's a lot here to love, but I could understand how there are certain elements that maybe whatever their future plans are, it doesn't fit into those plans. All that said, guys, it's a lot to unpack, but if I think of it overall, if I picture myself sitting in cinema watching this and picture where my head would be at in terms of a score by the time I'm done watching it, I know it's gonna be a high one, you know. And I know if I saw this, I would definitely think this was a great addition to the to what DC is doing. It's a strong addition, you know, and just erase the first Justice League movie, which I haven't even rewatched since I saw that in cinemas. So even with some dialogue issues here and there, some maybe scenes that weren't really necessary, I think maybe if this movie was even 3.5 hours long, it would still be good. It would be really good, you know. Most of this is just such a step up, and I'm so happy for Zack Snyder that he got his vision out there, that he got to show what he wanted, because nobody wants to know that they could have done something so good and never get to see it, you know. So thank goodness for HBO Max and any streaming service that really gives these directors a chance to show what they could do with little to no interference from studios telling you, nah, this is too much and this can't work and we don't have time for that and this is how we want it, you know, screwing with what you want to put out there. Overall, I think it's a definite huge step up and a step in the right direction for these characters. It was great to see Ben Affleck finally able to show a Batman that, you know, isn't just this surface level brooding guy kind of thing. It was great to see more Flash, all of that characterization for Cyborg. That was so good. Even Steppenwolf, even the villain, we got to see so much more than this one note big giant CGI monstrosity. We got to see what his motivations was. It was awesome seeing Darkseid or Darkseid, however you want to pronounce it, you know. And as a big bad, you know, I definitely hope he shows up in future films. Cons wise, like I said, some of the song choices didn't work for me. Some of the scenes felt unnecessary. A little bit of the dialogue was as as effective as you would want it to be. It's still a really, really good film, and this is something that it's a box I kind of check in my head when I'm watching movies. Would I watch this again? The answer is a definite yes. I would not do it anytime soon because now I'm exhausted, but I would definitely watch this again because, like I said, at 4 hours, guys, this review alone, it just doesn't cover everything that I saw and everything that I liked and disliked. You know, I'm still going through stuff in my head, you know, with likes and dislikes. I wasn't a fan of the fact that Lois Lane, once again, for a character that is supposed to be so important, once again feels like she got sidelined. You know, it's a 4-hour long movie and maybe I got, well, we got like 15 minutes in Lois Lane, maybe, you know, I'm not sure about that. Martha and, well, Martha's conversation with Lois, again, I am not sure if that scene works for me because I can't figure out why. You know, I'm trying not to be spoilery, so why? But overall, it's a win. Sorry about that, guys. If the edit feels a bit weird there, it's because we had a power outage issue in the area and I had to stop and wait for everything to get back to normal to continue. So I was about to wrap things up by saying I am giving this movie a score of 7 out of 10. I did enjoy it a lot. And of course it's better than what came before. I mean, wasn't much to compete against in the first place. Flaws and all, I thought it was very entertaining, and I think if I saw this in cinema and I never saw the one that preceded it, I would have definitely said that this one was a win for me. So congratulations to Zack Snyder that he got to see his vision realized, and I'm giving this movie a 7 out of 10. So let me know how you felt about it. Did it please you? Do you feel the same exact way you feel, you know, comparing the two? Do you not care either way? You know, let me know what your thoughts are on this one. And if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. It's always appreciated. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, you can click on my face when it pops up right about there. And you can check out past reviews if you're so inclined. So until the next one, guys. Bye-bye.